Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Some sad news coming out of Hollywood on the set of Alec Baldwin's movie he's shooting in New Mexico. Alec Baldwin has actually accidentally shot and killed the cinematographer Halyna Hutchins and wounded the director. The director is out of the hospital now and doing all right. But again, I say accidentally shot and killed the cinematographer because it was a prop gun. And obviously all the anti-gun people are going to get onto this, the anti-gun activists. Everyone's going to have an opinion about this because it involves guns. And that's a bit sad because first and foremost, you should be thinking about the people involved. And, you know, that's where my thoughts are. Thoughts and prayers certainly would go out to the family of the victim and, of course, to Alec Baldwin himself. That's obviously something that's gonna weigh on him and haunt him for a while and stick with him for life. It's certainly a tragic thing, for sure, obviously, and that's what we should be thinking, of course. But as you know, in this social media-driven world, everyone with a political view and a narrative is going to be onto it, sadly, and that's going to be what everyone's talking about, and it will revolve around guns and Hollywood and America, and look, all these things are going to come up anyway. But for myself, the human side of me, as everyone should, of course, my thoughts go out to the victim's family and Alec Baldwin and his family. But then there's, of course, the logical side, which has to ask the questions that are going to be asked. Call it the Spock side of me. But the logical side says, this one, coming from Hollywood, the fact that it involves guns, there is going to be some hypocrisy there because I'll be honest, Alec Baldwin, as much as I certainly feel very sorry for him in this situation, he is someone himself as a gun control activist. If it were any of you, any average person that was involved with this and killed someone, he'd be all over it, as anyone else in Hollywood probably would. They'd be all over this, saying how disgusting it is and how there needs to be more gun control. When, in fact, you know, I do believe this needs to be treated as a workplace accident, because that's what it is. It's a workplace accident. And, you know, sometimes, look, in Hollywood, you know, over a century of movies have been evolving, and safety on set, and there's a prop master, and there's unions involved, and there's proper protocols, and that's what I think probably wasn't followed here, and that's what happens when those safety protocols aren't followed. I know in this world you can't just have a casual debate or conversation about something, which is what needs to happen about these subjects. The minute you say one thing or the other, or you just say something that's factual or logical, you're seen as being on one side of it or the other, which is so annoying. The world is so divisive at the moment. But the fact is even the NRA, even they, if they were on set, someone from the NRA teaching them the proper skills to handle a gun, to handle a firearm, they would have been aware of these simple rules. Never point a gun at someone. Always treat a gun as if it's loaded and it's live, and it is a dangerous weapon. Again, I know there's prop masters on the set, and there's people that do handle this, but, you know, actors in general, you know, they're there playing a part, and sometimes I think they are very cavalier about, you know, the portrayal of guns. You know, they're always portrayed as something that's a bit of a toy. They're always handling it wrong or using it wrong in general ways. But again, there are protocols in place and obviously something went amiss here. He was apparently handed, again, a prop gun, but with a live round in it. And you also wonder in this case, who's at fault? The people on set, in charge of the guns, managing the guns, or Alec Baldwin, or the person who actually fired the weapon. He himself was questioned by police and let go, and without any charges. Obviously, the investigation is ongoing. There'll be a lot to this as far as the victim's family and everyone involved, and he's also producing the movie, which certainly complicates things because he's responsible for the safety and all the protocols that go along with that. And from an insurance point of view, yes, of course this will be investigated, and it's going to be quite serious. But apparently, previously on this particular movie set, the camera crew had walked out because of poor safety on the set, and possibly disputes between the production and some non-union members were probably on the set. And look, I get it. These days, it's a fine line between spending money and making money, and costs are cut, but there are certain areas you just shouldn't cut costs, and this is what happens. You can't cut costs in safety. Again, the fact that it's a gun is going to cause an issue. It's a hot topic in America, but a gun in this aspect, being used as a tool, a prop on a set, is like any hazardous tool. There are safety precautions around that, and the person handling it needs to be taught that. A chainsaw is a dangerous weapon if not used correctly. A car is a dangerous weapon. Do you not realize that? If you're not taught how to use it correctly, it's a weapon. A nail gun used improperly is a weapon, but used properly is a tool. Again, I know for all the anti-gun activists, they don't see it as a tool. They just see it as a killing machine. But and the other thing, if it were any normal person, I think they'd be in jail right now. I think the fact that he's an actor maybe got a bit of a pass here, but in any case, that's the problem, is that a lot of people are going to use it for their political view and their narrative, and it's going to get out of control. It makes me think back, though, to '93 with Brandon Lee, how he was killed on the set of The Crow. And in that situation, there was an actual bullet in the barrel of the gun, but it was a squib, so it's just the bullet for the look of it, for the look of the bullet. There's no gunpowder in it. A scene in a movie, you're loading the bullets in a gun, close-ups, those bullets are just the shell of the bullet. But then they obviously use blanks on the set, probably thousands of blanks for the muzzle flare and the flash and the sound and the recoil of the gun. And the blanks are just shooting out the gunpowder, no projectile. And in Brandon Lee's case, the actual blank bullet was lodged in the barrel and no one knew it. And then when it was loaded with a blank full of gunpowder, you've now completed that circuit and created a live round, and he was shot. He died in hospital, though, from complications, but the cinematographer died on the set. So, again, it's tragic, but there's going to be a lot of buzzing around this, possibly for all the wrong reasons, but they should treat it as it was. It's an OH&S issue. It's an accident on the set, and that's why you shouldn't cut costs. There's certain things that are important. I'm sure every time Tom Cruise wants to do a wild stunt, that's why the insurance guys sit around the table sweating, thinking, what are we going to do? He's the star, and there's danger involved, and we don't want him to get hurt or someone else to get hurt. So in this case, I don't know the specifics, but it seems like there were some issues and there were some safety issues, and this is what leads to that. So anyway, it's not an easy subject, but I hope it's looked into in a very fair and even-minded way, even though it might not be. The movie business, the nuts and bolts of it, the nitty-gritty of it is that, there's unions on set. It's not just the Actors Guild. Everyone behind the set. There's prop masters, there's carpenters, there's lighting, there's electrical. These are serious things, and a movie set can be dangerous like any workplace, like any construction site. It's very similar, and especially when you're using something like guns and bullets. These things have to be taken seriously, and I know they are for the most part. Of course they are. All these people take their jobs very seriously, but when you end up cutting corners, I'm sure the people that replace them, maybe they just aren't as experienced. Not that they aren't taking it seriously, but they just possibly aren't as qualified, which is what you need to be, especially when it comes to using hazardous equipment and humans and actors and crew all mixed together. So again, it goes without saying. All of you know that. Anyone who works at a workplace, no matter where you are now, no matter if you're on a construction site or just a normal office space, there's always someone who has to go through an OHS induction, or you're involved in that in some way, in safety in the workplace. Everyone knows that. So a movie set is no different. And that's where the investigation and these questions really need to focus. Who's responsible, and who should have been prepared better with handling the safety precautions of this, so that when you hand that dangerous weapon over to the actor, who may not be completely trained, because that's not what they do. He's an actor. His job is to pretend and perform. He has to trust the others on the set. He has to trust the crew that they've done their job, so that this kind of thing doesn't happen. And now, like I say, I can't imagine what he's feeling. Cannot imagine what he'd be going through, blaming himself. And I'm not blaming Alec Baldwin. Like I said, I'm just saying it is ironic that these are just the facts. I'm not making this up. This is about his past and his character, in that he's very anti-gun and would slam anyone who was involved with a shooting like this, whether it was an accident or not. Would blame the gun and getting rid of guns. But as part of his bread and butter, working in the movies, of course he's gonna be involved with that if that's what the plot is, if that's what the story is. If it's an action movie or it involves a gun, he's gonna have to handle a gun, and whether it's blanks or not, obviously it's still a dangerous weapon if used incorrectly, if used by someone who hasn't been properly trained. As simple as that, like anything else. If you use it for what it was intended and you have been trained properly, number one, again, not pointing it at someone else, but in the movie, when you're playing pretend, you have to do that. So yeah, that's where you have to rely on the professionals to keep everyone safe and to keep you safe. But in this case, that didn't happen. But like I say, in the court of law, who does get blamed? Is it the person wielding the gun, the person who shot, or the one who handed him the gun? In the real world, it would be the person who shot the gun, but this is obviously a more complex case, which that will come out further, I'm sure, when more information comes out and there's more investigating. But for now, like I say, certainly think about the family, and thoughts and prayers should go out to them, and we'll see how it unfolds. But my sadness is that all the people pushing a narrative and an agenda are going to get on board and just push their own causes, their own selfish reasons, and and forget the real point of this is that, someone has tragically died, and Alec Baldwin is also, a victim as well, to be honest, and it's going to affect him for the rest of his life. He'll end up being known for this rather than anything else, and that is quite sad. You have to understand how he must feel. So again, that's my two sides. The emotional side, where I do understand the tragedy involved here, but also the factual side, in that you have to treat a weapon with respect, and when you knock the very people who would have trained you well, like the NRA, and it doesn't mean I'm on board either way, or I'm trying to push in a political agenda. I'm just stating the facts. The NRA, that's their whole message, is safety, gun safety. They push that. Gun safety is tantamount to them. And had Alec Baldwin or the people on the set been trained by someone from the NRA, I believe this could have been prevented. Because, like I say, there are just simple rules they have in place in how you respect any type of gun. So, like I say, when you knock those people who could have helped you, and then you end up in a situation where it really ended up burning you, and now a death was involved. Yeah, that is ironic, and it is sad. And I look, I love movies. I've always loved movies, but I don't always like the hypocrisy of Hollywood and a lot of actors. But sometimes you have to separate the actor from the part they're playing. Of course you do. If you couldn't do that, I don't think you'd be able to watch any movie with any actor, frankly. If you really knew about what their politics were and you let it affect you, forget it. You wouldn't be able to watch any movie. So you do have to separate that, the fantasy of the character they're playing, and that, their personal beliefs. That's fine. They can have those, but in this case, I think they're all going to come out, and it's not going to be easy. So anyway, those were just my thoughts. Have a think about that. I'm not here to solve anything at the moment. I like to pose questions and make sure that you're always thinking and discussing and having a dialogue, and not just making assumptions or being so divisive. Just be open to both sides. Have a dialogue. Come out on the other end, hopefully learning a little bit more. Not necessarily agreeing, but agreeing to disagree, and again, having learned something. Anyway, that's all I have to say, and talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.